we're going to be talking about something that's being on the airwaves, social media waves, whatever, in recent times. In fact, since I put it up on my status that we're going to be talking about this, I've had all sorts of people chatting me. Yes, it concerns me too. And somebody actually said, even the other day I was driving, just chatting to my friends, and I'm in trouble for it. I'm like, okay, how does this have to do with this? But anyway, I guess you know by now what it is we want to talk about. It's issues around the proposed social media bill. So basically, like I said, we've been agog with news about this special bill, prohibition of hate speech bill, also known as the Internet Falsehood and Manipulation Bill, which is sponsored by Senator Mohammed Sani Musa. And the bill prohibits statements on social media deemed likely to be prejudicial to national security and those which may diminish public confidence in Nigeria's government. The bill has passed the second reading on the floor of the Red Chamber, but it has been heavily criticized by almost anyone I know. There have been all sorts of memes on social media. The one that I laughed out loud at and had to share on our Good Citizen WhatsApp platform was the one with this trailer stuck in the ruts. And somebody said how to overcome being persecuted on the social media bill, based on the social media bill. And it was something around, what is this? What is this truck doing in this beautiful, why is this truck spoiling these beautiful federal roads? Meanwhile, the truck was stuck in this puddle of water. But, people, I trust Nigerians. No matter how serious a thing is, we must laugh over it. And, I saw some serious commentary from Bishop Matthew Kuka, and he was, he really, really strongly spoke against it and says, this is really an inhibition on human rights. It seems as though our government and the people who we elected democratically into office do not seem to realize the what it means, really, what democracy really means. If you're saying that people cannot speak about certain things, considering the fact that they got into office on the back of social media. They literally got into office on the back of social media. It was all sorts of things, all sorts of promises. I'm not saying that all the promises have been broken, but a lot of them haven't been met. But then, they got us believing, and it's not unusual. In every advancing country, it's not unusual to use social media. And it's not like we don't understand the dangers of social media. Everybody understands the dangers of social media, but it can also be used for good, and it's useful for certain things. And a lot of the things that, especially for us who are constantly fighting for rights and all of that, it does help democratize the process, unlike in the past where you have to wait for one newspaper house to agree to carry your story or whatnot. We're able to deal with things with expediency. And with over 29 million internet users across Nigeria, social media is surely a critical tool for shaping public discourse. We should be able to share photos, opinions. We should be able to criticize. That is the hallmark of democracy. It happens everywhere. Constantly we're seeing all sorts of things about President Trump. He doesn't care. He uses social media right back, whether for good or bad. So we need to learn to work with it. And, we have a special guest. All our guests are special on the show. So we'll take a break actually before we introduce him. So why don't you hold your breath and wait until we return back to the Good Citizen Radio Show.
The Aspire Coronation Trust, ACT Foundation, is a non-profit organization established to help local, national, and regional non-profit organizations working to address the challenges and associated vulnerabilities across Africa. Our interventions are focused on 4 key areas, which are health, entrepreneurship, environment, and leadership. At ACT Foundation, we believe that together we can make a difference. So, let's come together to make the positive social impact we desire in our world.
So, guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the Good Citizen Radio Show. I'm still Bekeme, and I still have that very special guest in the house. His name is Adetona, popularly called Slim Fit. He's a Google certified digital marketing professional with more than 8 years experience in digital marketing, communications, branding, and media management. He's passionate about building brands and helping them attain their marketing objectives. He is also the convener of one of the largest gatherings of digital media eggheads in Nigeria, Lagos Digital Summit, which is in its 3rd year. He was just reminding me during the break that Tosin was actually supposed to be on his show on the day that she passed. And I'm glad that you're here today as we remembered her. Welcome to the show, Wale.
Hi, Bekeme. Good evening. Pleasant evening to all listeners out there. I'm glad to be on the show today.
Great. We're glad to have you. And you've been hearing my preamble about the social media bill. So what are your thoughts?
Well, I think first and first is pertinent to say that the so-called bill was lifted from an already existing bill in Singapore.
Right.
And I'm
including the bad grammar.
Of everything lifted. So I'm being modest when I say lifted. I don't want to use the word copy and paste. Of
really?
course, that's what happened, but it wasn't done creatively. I mean, as expected. And in case we don't know, the implication is that if this bill is eventually passed into law, it means for everybody out there, including yourself and myself, for everything we see on social media or digital channels, I mean, the government will be in a position to determine what is right or wrong. So whatever you say, whether it's right or wrong, they are going to determine and use it against you. And this is an outright infringement on our human rights policy as for freedom of speech. Yeah. And like you already mentioned, the bill which was sponsored by Mohammed Sani Musa, representing Niger East. Sorry. So social media is become a prominent platform for public discourse amongst Nigerians, and as evident, remarkable success have been achieved with the use of this media to propel action on social, economic, and political issues. So clamping down on social media would eventually warrant people getting shot. I mean, getting shut up. I mean, people will not be able to express their minds willingly and with a will. And also, it will mean that there will be a whole lot of clamp down on the usage of social media.
But there'll be a lot of clamp down.
Yeah.
I hear that, but social media, we've had a lot of people irresponsible on social, like do all sorts of irresponsible fake news. You don't know what to believe. Like today you hear, VP's aides have all been sacked.
I mean,
tomorrow you send a message to that
everybody's
person
a blogger,
and that aide has not been sacked, and anybody just comes up. But the sad part is, it's the politicians who actually use it the most, okay? So you want to bring down your opponent, and then you come up with something that seemingly comes out of that person's camp and is partially true and partially a lie, or sometimes an outright lie, but that makes it, but that is likely to be true if you consider the personality of that person. So it's been a lot of that. So how would they find out who's pushing what? How easy would it be to determine all of that? And, how do we even... how do you judge what is hate speech or isn't hate speech?
To be realistic, it's going to be very difficult controlling social media. If you remember, sometimes in 2015, there was this a similar bill that was passed and that was raised on the floor of the Senate. But unfortunately for them, then it didn't pass into law also. And based on the fact that the president then he said was committed to freedom of speech, and he didn't fold his hand to watch that go into law. But talking about fake news and curbing the passage of fake news on social media, I think the best thing to do would be to enact a law, and probably not the outright death penalty, I mean, maybe something subtle to say, guys, whatever you post.
That's to show you that they copied and pasted it down.
Yeah,
you know,
of
when
course.
you do copy.
I mean, everything just. But I think it was after the outrage. I mean, they now said, okay, so guys, we are willing to review this, and I think they now said 3 years and 300,000.
Right. Yes.
I mean, books.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that might be fair enough. But looking at that also, the implication might be enormous. But that would also, on the side of the users, I mean, social media users, give them calm them and watch, to allow everybody watch what they post on social media and be mindful of the kind of information they disseminate on these platforms.
If I say Mr. President has, told a lie, or Mr. President has not kept his word. For instance, the matter of tenured office. And, initially when Mr. President got into office, he says, I'm going to be in office for just one tenure.
Yeah.
And then he changes his mind, which anybody is allowed to do. There was no explanation to us. That's why we went happy, right? And then you say, okay, I'm not going to be in office, for one term. I want to go for a second term. And I say, but you hang on, I'm not happy because you said you were going to stay for one term. And as a result, I voted you in because I thought that there were certain things you could do for one term. Now, would that be hate speech if I keep on at it and say, no, it's not true, you can't tell us that? So, would I be, because, there's all sorts of statements in there about, not being prejudicial to friendly relations of Nigeria, transmission of the statements in Nigeria is likely to be prejudicial to the security of Nigeria, any part of it. I mean, because you could say that, as a result of your constant complaint and haranguing of Mr. President, you are now a security threat. So,
well, as it is right now,
is that how it happens in Singapore?
Well, as it is right now, it's not considered hate speech. But unfortunately for you and I, if this bill is passed, whatever you say today, whether right or wrong, they are in the best position to say, guy, this thing you said is hate speech, and you can be prosecuted.
I've seen it. Number 6, it says diminish public confidence in the performance of any duty or function of or in the exercise of any power by the government. That means this is hate speech.
Yeah. But Singapore is not the best country to use as benchmark. I mean,
no, but
if you want to
copy, they borrow different.
Yeah, of course, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you wanted to copy, look out for good innovation bills around the country. There's lots of countries doing good things with their digital innovations. Copy from them, not Singapore. Singapore is ranked 151 out of 180 countries on the World Press Freedom Index. So how
this
could
is
you?
Where we're bringing ourselves
down to copy this kind of bill from them. If this is eventually passed into law, the government should realize that they can no longer keep the masses ignorant. Technology through digital media as a tool has offered us, as a people, a platform to voice out and also to educate ourselves on everything happening out there. So they should reckon with the fact that this is the only tool that is available to the poor masses.
How do you think this will affect us Nigerians? Especially since social media is a global communication tool, how do you think it would, affect our reputation even globally? We're known for certain things. And I don't think that, considering the irrepressible nature of the average Nigerian, that I think this is something of a surprise, really, coming from us. So how do you think that our peers or people countries that we aspire to be like, start to think about us? Do you think it's one of those things that would affect our foreign policy engagement?
First and first, I think it's going to affect our World Press Freedom Index. We're going to be ranked with the likes of Singapore, and this will adversely affect our press. So there won't be freedom of speech. Not like now that the press guys out there have the power to report whatever it is they see out there, whether true or not. But with this, it's going to put a restriction to the kind of information the press out might carry. Whether even if they are out there seeing what is happening, with the fear at the back of their mind that after this, I might not be freedom of speech is guaranteed, but my freedom of movement after this might not be guaranteed. There's going to be a restriction on whatever it is people are going to.
It's a scary notion.
Yeah.
So I'm going to remind people listeners, on the number to call is 0700 93 93 93. Again, it's 0700 93 93 93. So yes, I was thinking about, growing up. I was thinking about, as you said, freedom of the press. Initially I was just thinking of us, the average users. I'm not a prolific social media user, so I'm not really scared. But what if I said something? But then, as you said, the press, I was not thinking of mainstream press who are now also quite prominent on social. Yes, they've gone digital, especially press like Vanguard. Apparently, they have the largest online subscription or something like that. And so are you saying that certain things that they publish, they would now be afraid to publish? It reminds me of, growing up times when Delegiwa and his letter bomb. The only thing is we're legalizing it now. I remember us singing Delegiwa, we are sorry, and those things were our dark days, right? When people couldn't say anything. But now you're legalizing the fact that people can't say anything. Are you saying that it would actually gag mainstream press as well?
Well, outrightly, I mean, it's even going to start from the mainstream press before it cascades down to digital. I mean, most times, except nowadays that the digital is mainstream now feed from digital. I mean, whatever conversation that is going to happen in that space is going to be gagged, and people are no longer going to be free to express whatever it is they have in mind, even though it's going to be the truth or whatever it is they want to say. Mainstream media in particular are also going to be restricted and not going to report whatever it is they say.
That is scary. What do you think citizens can do to stop this bill from happening? Is it too late? Can we do something?
No, it's not. It's not too late. I mean, as evident in in social media space. I mean, for the past 4 or 5 days or 1 week thereabouts, the only tool we have as a people is the social media, which apparently everybody has been crying out there. I mean, using hashtags, say no to social media bill, join in putting your voice out there also. I mean, if this eventually happens, it's going to be a catastrophe. It's going to be a disaster.
We have a call. Excuse me. Hello?
Yeah, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for calling the Good Citizen Radio Show. What's your name?
My name is Chike from Maryland.
Hello, Chike. We want to make a contribution?
Yeah, I want to.
Please, go ahead.
I watched the senator sponsoring the bill 2 days ago on channels, and the bill is scary, the reasons given, the justification, he said we've had ethnic, religious crisis in the nation caused by hate speech and all that. But my concern is, if you stop people from voicing out their frustration, do you think, can you perpetually close, a full-blown man's mouth? You cannot. One day there will be an explosion in other ways. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like now, even the economic situation of Nigeria, people talk. People voice out their frustration, and at the end of the day, maybe they have a sense of relief.
Absolutely.
At least
after venting.
But if you gag us, if you shut my mouth, you may have a situation where people are committing suicide or violence in one way or the other.
Yes.
That same thing, because people will just be there pretending, or so there won't be joy, That's it. So the aim is defeated. There's no justification. People have to talk. And that's the essence of democracy.
Absolutely.
You have to talk.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chike. You're so right. We do have to talk. I mean, he's flagged up the positive aspects of using social media to vent legitimately. So, what do you think?
At the end of the day, the government still have a very crucial role to play. I mean, the last caller just mentioned ethnic violence, using social media and digital platforms to promote this. I mean, if government could sit tight and do play their own role in making sure I mean, all their promises to every aspect of the nations are delivered. I mean, everybody's going to be happy. I mean, people are people are not going to go to social media to promote ethnic violence. People are no, I mean, everybody, there will be love everywhere. People will feel loved. And I mean, there won't be any need to promote any ethnic violence or religious violence out there. So everything still, the whole thing still lies on the government to play their own role. And then talking about using digital and social media as a tool for good. If this eventually comes to play, it's going to cause a whole lot of damage. And evidently, talk about NSAS, talk about bring back our girls. These are all the social, political campaigns that have been made, that have been made come to life using social media. I mean, if you clamp down on the use of this tool, at the end of the day, there won't be any voice. There won't be any tool for the.
Is it that sounds like exactly like what the government wants? You know, that sounds exactly like
so that whatever
no
it is, whatever it is, you won't be able to criticize, you won't be able to say your mind, and just accept everything as it is. Yeah, then this defeats the whole essence of democracy. I mean, like you rightly said, if it's democracy,
we have a caller. We've lost that caller, Karen.
So democracy is, I mean, it comes with freedom of speech. So if you're going to say people should not speak freely, then you can as well just say let's revert from democracy to being what's it called now? What's the other one called?
Well, to live under an autocracy or dictatorship or something.
Yeah.
So what did you say we could do? So we should use the hashtags?
Say no to social media bill. I mean, let's lend our voices. That's the only tool we have as a citizen to stop this menace, if I can use that word.
Is that the only legal tool at our disposal to stop this bill?
Apart from that, people are going out to do them. I mean, to do demonstrations. You can go out there, join any rally that you can in your area. Last weekend, my friends and some other good people in Lagos organized a rally, which I was part of it also, and also in Abuja, the fountain, the Freedom Fountain. What's it called in Abuja now? There was a rally there also. I mean, people should come together. If you have people that you can talk to, call your senators also. I remember on social media last week, there was a list of senators that was released.
Do we have his number?
Of course.
Number?
Yeah, I recall someone called. Someone said he called, but he didn't pick his call, and he didn't pick the call.
Can somebody find his number so we can call him and please beg him nicely.
Call your senators.
Yes, call that particular senator. Oga Alaji Sadusa, please help us. We don't need it.
Bill. Ask them what is your position.
Yeah, I wish. So basically, I think that the summary of it all is what Bishop Cooker said. He reminded the government that democracy thrives on debate, consensus building, negotiation, persuasion, argumentation, the rule of law, process, and inclusion. And, in arriving at this social media bill, it is clear that there has been no engagement. So someone woke up one day and just said, you know what? The entirety of over 180 million Nigerians, I know better than you, so I'm proposing that. No, I'm not proposing. I'm imposing this on you. And it makes us feel stupid because we know we're not stupid. But I think that it's also a call to us Nigerians as a people, because, I'm terrified of Twitter as a person. I feel like that chihuahuas just waiting to attack you on Twitter, right? So I do know that people can be terribly irresponsible, but I also know that they have no right to gag. I think that there's opportunity for engagement, right?
Yeah, opportunity to connect with people, opportunity to use it as a social good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then lastly, my last word, I think knowing the president as the person he is, I know he's committed to freedom of speech, and I'm certain, certain he won't fold his arm to see this bill signed into law. I mean, I'm vouching for him, and I know this.
Mr. President, I hope you're listening. He's sure that you are not that kind of person. Prove him right. Thank you all thank you so much for coming on this show, Wale. And thank you all for listening to the Good Citizen Radio Show. Please keep up the conversation on social media at Good Citizen NG, at Good Citizen NG, and you can send up WhatsApp messages on 0906 263 4111. Again, I'm Bekeme. And the show is brought to you by CSR in Action and sponsored by ACT Foundation. Have yourselves a great weekend, and I hope a happy new week. Bye-bye.